Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner podcast. My name is Scott. I'll be your host today. Got a great show for you today. Got a great guest. I'm going to bring him on in just a moment. This week's podcast is brought to you by another podcast, the Run for Your Life podcast. Melissa Kahn, former multiple-time guest on the show, has put together a podcast talking about running, talking about mental health issues, and she's very supportive of our causes too, and she's getting involved with the Ordinary Marathon. We thank her for that, and check out her podcast. I don't normally say that. I mean, she's a competitor and all. But we're gonna have her on in a few weeks, and I think she's gonna have me on her show as well. I got a lot of mental health issues to discuss with her, I think. We'll get to that at some point, I'm sure. Oh, what else we got? As always, you can find this and the back episodes of our podcast at our website, ordinarymarathoner.com. Check it out if you get a chance. You can also find them at the aggregators, places like Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes. If you like the show, hit that subscribe button. Never miss a new episode that way. You can also find it over at our YouTube channel. Check out our YouTube channel. I'm going to beg. Go on over to YouTube, find our channel, hit that subscribe button. We've been stuck around 50, 52 subscribers for a while, and Sam was like, "Dad, you're still at 52? Dad, what's going on? You know, you're not growing? What's going on? You're not popular? Everyone should follow your channel." Yeah, look, Sam, I'm trying. Stephanie's been hard at work, doing her Couch to 5K series, Mom's Miles and Baby Smiles. It's been a lot of work, I tell you, a lot of work, but a lot of fun as well. And she's doing really well. She's following the program to a T. She hasn't missed a day. Even got a couple extra workouts in there. But she's doing great, and check that out over on our YouTube channel if you get a chance. Our Facebook group is doing really well as well. A lot of positive feedback over there, a lot of support. All kinds of runners over there. You can go on over there, ask your running questions, post your workouts, whatever you like. It's called Ordinary Marathoners. It's a closed group. You got to add yourself to it. We'll put you through right away though, and you can either join the conversation if you want, or you're invited to just be a lurker as well. By all means, just head on over and join the group. It's a great group of people. You can also find me on Twitter at Ord Marathoner. That's O-R-D Marathoner. Follow me there. I'll follow you back. We can get the conversation going on over there as well. With that, let me introduce today's guest. He is I would say, I guess, co-race director, but he does all the work. I just yap about it. Scott Frasard, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Scott. How are you today?
I'm doing really well. So Scott runs, Scott and Scott, it's going to sound funny, but, Scott Frasard, we'll make that clear. He runs, Furever Home Running, and it's spelled F-U-R. I try to always say that because if you say Furever Home Running, people won't know where to go. It's F-U-R-E-V-E-R homerunning.com. And he specializes in virtual races, and he's helping us out with the Ordinary Marathon. He helped us out last year. A great success, I think. We had a great time. And only working a lot harder this year. But I kind of want, before we get into that, before we get into the Ordinary Marathon and everything going on there, because I do want to go through all that stuff, obviously. I do want to take a step back, because we had you on the podcast, I want to say about a year ago.
It was about a year, yeah.
And you were set up to do something quite amazing, quite record-breaking. I believe Guinness was involved, and not even the beer, like the Guinness Book of World Records.
That's correct. I was actually had applied through Guinness to break a standing world record for the most consecutive days running a half marathon on a treadmill.
And, I remember we talked about this, and you were like, all right, I was thinking about, I wanted to do something great, and I wanted to break a record, and I looked for something, and I wanted to find something I thought maybe I could do. And so you found this one, yes. The most consecutive days running a half marathon on a treadmill. And you were like a month away from going at it, right? You were really close.
Yeah.
And what happened? I remember we had conversations about all the rules that were involved and all the, and how you had to set it up. So, give us a whole rundown of like how this all went down.
Sure. So, things were going great. From a physical standpoint, I was running regularly. I was getting trained up. Mental standpoint, well, we've heard your podcast and talking about running on the treadmill, and we know how much you love it. I totally get it. So I was in the right place there. Where I had problems is the logistics. Guinness requires at least 2 observers each day, and they had to be there for 100% of the run. So we're talking 2.5 to 3 hours of 2 people's time every day. And I had to have that set up for, I was going to attempt 70 days.
Yeah.
And
that's a lot. That's a commitment, not just for
exactly.
you. Yeah.
And so the record is 52. So if I got to day 52 and then on day 53, one of those 2 or no observer showed up, I'm just hosed. My record is gone.
It's got to be hard to recruit people to do that thing. I mean,
yeah, making this not happen yet. I'm going to put an asterisk next to that. Yet.
It's still a thought, and it's still a twinkle in your eye.
Oh, absolutely. I still have all of my stuff from Guinness in terms of what I need to do. I was able to reach out to one of my local running stores, and they were going to host it. We talked about doing it right there in the store. They're open 7 days a week. Their employees could be those observers.
Which I thought was a brilliant idea. You mentioned that to me a couple months ago, and I thought that was just a brilliant idea. I mean, there's going to be 2 people there anyway, so you might as well.
Exactly. Brings some notoriety to me being connected with them. And
do you have to film it also? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So, and that's another one of those logistic things. And talking with my wife, we're like, okay, let's have a hair and a spare. So we were gonna set up 2 like GoPros with external hard drives. So should something happen to one, we've got a backup.
Right.
It became a logistic nightmare that I still haven't figured out yet.
And mind you, you think like the people at Guinness, I mean, the whole point is to have a record of the most amazing things that people have done. And granted, again, this kind of derives from, this has been sort of a topic, I guess, I know you listen to podcasts. This has been sort of a topic lately. All the freaking cheaters out there just ruin it for everybody.
Yes.
It's just like, I mean, you have to do all this stuff because you might cheat. I mean, I don't know. By the way, you know what I think if you had if you say like your wife was one of the observers and she observes you every single day for 7, that would technically be a Guinness World Record itself, right? Observing someone, it might even be more impressive. What are you in the book for? I actually watched someone run 70 half marathons every day. That's more impressive than actually running them, I think.
Maybe that's something we should apply to Guinness in conjunction with this one.
Right, exactly. I think it's more impressive. But one of the other things was you couldn't touch the rails, right?
Yes. So, according to Guinness, a couple of the rules are: once I start, I can't stop. So I can't step off the treadmill. So bathroom breaks don't happen.
That's another thing is like if you're running a regular half marathon, if you got to pee and there's a porta john, you just go.
Yeah.
So what's the big deal? I don't know. It's so weird.
I can slow down.
Yeah. You can probably walk, right? Can you walk?
Yeah, absolutely. I can walk, I can run, but those handholds, I can't touch them.
And that's strange because that's part of the treadmill.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's the whole purpose, but I guess you could set the thing for as fast as 15 miles an hour and then just kind of like hover over, right? You'd probably avoid that. It's just all these little ways people cheat these days. It's just, it's kind of sad. I don't know. So, all right. So it's shelved. Is what you're saying.
It's shelved for right now until I can solve the logistics, and then I'll pick it back up seriously. The good thing is, Guinness has approved it. They don't say you have to have it done in a certain timeline. They don't give me that drop dead date kind of thing. Yeah. But so I'm gonna pick it back up, but I've got to figure out the observer element.
I think it's really cool. I think keep working at it. You're going to figure out the logistics one day. I think, yeah. I mean, you get a couple cameras streaming there, and you just throw it up on the internet somewhere. You never know.
Exactly.
And the running store should be like, imagine like just being a customer of that running store, and every day you walk in and you're on the treadmill running. I mean, the word could get around. They could have tons of people lined up to watch Scott Frasard break the record.
And that was actually one of the things I envisioned. The store is in a strip mall, and so the front of the store is a glass wall. So
wow.
I was envisioning having the treadmill at the front of the store, so you can see me, and put one of those like picture frames on the glass wall, so you can take a picture of me on the treadmill from the outside. Stupid stuff like that.
Right. So people taking selfies like with you in the background.
Exactly.
That would be awesome. You'd be like a teen heartthrob too, and people like all the girls would be. Are we allowed to say that now anymore? I don't know what I'm allowed to say anymore.
I don't know, but yeah. Blow up the internet with some silly stuff that I'm doing online just for some publicity.
I think that would be really cool, and you definitely got to keep us in mind if you do wind up figuring out all those logistics and give it a shot. I want to be involved. I don't want to be involved directly. I want to be involved from watching, and maybe I'll even take a selfie myself.
There you go. I was going to say, come hang out at the running store a couple days.
Observe.
Yeah.
I'll observe. I mean, if you're in the front of a store in a window, basically, I mean, how do you not have two observers at all times? I don't know. You're going to figure this out, man. You're going to do it. So, you recently ran a half marathon. I
did the 3M half marathon in Austin, Texas.
Yep. And, one of the things I like about you is like, and I don't know, you have a way of putting this, and I can't remember exactly how you put it, but it's something like when you run races, you're like a finisher, or you want to, is that the word you use?
I'm a completer.
You're a completer. All right. So you're kind of, now, are you competitive with yourself at all, or you just like to go to these things and finish and get the bling and move to the next one?
Both. I would say, but the proportion I think changes depending on my mood, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So like we have people on the site, and people that like really, really focus on their times and how, I'm probably one of them. But with you, when I watch you, when I see you're doing a race, I'm like, all right, Ollie, just like, I have no idea your pace. Cause sometimes I feel like you probably could run a lot faster than you did this, a couple weeks ago. But you're taking selfies. You're posting to Facebook, but you're enjoying it though. You're enjoying it.
And I actually purposefully did that with this race. I did end up running the first, 7 miles without stopping, except for, at mile 3, I did like a short little 30-second video and a couple other things. But I felt great. My pace was good. I was having fun. And I wanted to kind of give a shout out to social media, say, hey, this was going on. So yeah, I was just having a blast with it.
That's good. It's kind of, so I like that. It's if you know what people like, if you were, if you're one of the kinds of people that are going after your time and going, and you can root for that person to get the time, and that's fun. But it's also fun to see people just going out and having fun, being a finisher, a completer. So thanks for that.
Well, one of the things I really like about that, for me, and it's not for everybody, but I don't get so wrapped up and I've got to hit a certain time or else I'm going to let myself down, let others down, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That I'm enjoying the moment and the people around me. And, you know how it is. You get talking to folks around you. You may never see them ever again, but you just enjoy it. And then when you're finished, you get your bottle of water, your cookies or whatever, and your blank, and it's just a good time.
Yeah, always. And then, so now, but it's also on the other hand, you also sometimes take on large challenges. Like, for example, I mean, the Guinness World Record, I mean, it's challenging even just to look into doing something like that. But, you have a couple races on your schedule this year, a little longer than a half marathon.
Yeah. My next race is actually on February 17th, and that's the Austin Marathon, which my wife has actually asked me to consider stepping back to the half marathon, but I'm going to stick with the full. It's been a while since I've done a full, and that one I am going to be paying attention to the usual suspects. My pace, nutrition, endurance, all that sort of stuff, because I would love to get a PR. I know I'm probably not going to, but I would love to. But that's also going to help me figure out what adjustments I need to make when I go into the following race in April, which is a half Ironman in Galveston. And in Ironman, all your faults come out in the marathon. So,
oh yeah. Well, I haven't done a 70.3, and I'm actually due for one. I'm doing Mont Tremblant in June.
Awesome.
I'm actually really looking forward to it. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to is the swim portion, because I always feel like with the 2.4 mile swim, like I never go into that water 100% confident that I'm going to be able to like swim hard. It's just like almost a survival thing. It's like just make the 2.4 miles and swim nice and evenly and at the very end, maybe if I have a little energy, I can push it. But I think with cutting it in half, I think I'll be able to go at it a little bit harder. And I'm really looking forward to that. I know you've done a full in your past, and have you done a lot of 70.3s as well? I've
done 6.
Yeah.
And let's see, 2 of them were DNFs.
Wow. For a 70.3?
Yeah.
Wow. And anything, I mean, did you go at it were you untrained, or did you get hurt? Did you go at it too fast?
So the first one,
you're a completer, man. You're a finisher.
Yeah. Well, 98% of the time. No, the first time was the one that I'm going to be doing in April, and it's Ironman Galveston 70.3 in Texas, and it wasn't my first 70.3, but I was totally unprepared for a completely flat bike course.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and so by the time I got to T2, I was just done. I couldn't.
Cooked. It's hard. You know what? If you haven't done a lot of brick workouts, and I don't know how you were, but it's hard to transition from the bike to the run. And it's really, some of it, as you probably know now, is just that, probably like that first mile where your ass is killing you, your thighs are just like screaming out. Now for me, I don't know about you, but for me, like, I feel like my running thighs, my running quads, and my biking quads are slightly different. They're not exactly the same area of the quad that gets, and I don't know what that is about, but it just takes a little time to get used to that transition of bike to run.
So let me ask you, what do you do when you transition to get your ground legs back, so to speak?
I just, the 2 ones that I did, I started out that first mile. I just started jogging lightly and trying to pace at like 11-minute miles, which would be a strong marathon for me. Keep checking the pace, see if I'm on. And if I feel pain, I go right to like a Galloway run walk. And I, in Maryland, I ran a 5:50 marathon, which is strong after an Ironman for me. And, I did a walk run pretty much the entire time. I think I ran the first 3/4 of a mile. I went right to and I tell you what, the last mile or two, there were people walking near me that looked near death because they would try to run the whole thing, and now they were hobbling and barely making it. And like some people on the sides were like watching when I would do my run intervals, I was still strong, like relatively speaking strong. I mean, I'm not, so it was a good plan. I don't know. Like I haven't always been a Galloway method supporter or believer, but I'm coming around.
I'm a huge Galloway, and for me, being a completer, I also ascribe to the theory of I run when I can, I walk when I can't.
Yeah. And the only thing that's gotten me with that is sometimes when I do that, I can't walk either.
I hear you. something that works for me coming out of T2 that resonated with what you said for me is I'll actually purposefully walk, whether it's a quarter mile or a half mile.
Yeah.
I'll just walk. I won't even attempt to run or jog or anything, just until I feel like, all right, my legs are adjusted.
Yep.
Now I'll start running.
But the problem with that for me, the problem with that is that the transition area is where all the crowd is. That's where all the people are. So you're walking and it's like, I know where, Stephanie stands and where all my people are. And it's, it's a 1/10 of a mile outside of the transition and they can watch me come and go. And I don't want them to see me just walking out of transition because then I just feel like they'll be, and it's not even it's for their benefit more than my own. I just want them to see that I have I have some energy and that I'm moving and everything's good. But yeah, I think that's definitely a good tactic just to try to get those muscles, get the biking muscles back into sort of, I don't know, sort of like a relaxation kind of mode. And then those running muscles have them kind of warm up and move forward. And, you know how it is. So you have a 70.3, but there's also a 140.6 in your future as well.
Yes. I'm going to be, heading out to Tempe, Arizona for the, Arizona IM in November.
And that's an awesome one. I feel like that one sells out. How did you get into that one early?
Let's see. When did I register? It was shortly after it opened.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's interesting with the whole dynamic of Ironman is that there's so many of them now. So it used to be, I don't know, maybe you had it wasn't as popular. So you had 5,000 of the people in the world doing Ironman races, and it was like Kona, Lake Placid, there was a half a dozen of them or whatever. And now they're just everywhere. And so, you don't have to come to Lake Placid or go to, Mont Tremblant. I don't even know if that's the one that's been around. But you don't have to go to Hawaii. Now you have a few of them right in your backyard.
Yeah. What's kind of nice is, Ironman Texas is only a couple hours away, but we also have two halves, and they're spaced out pretty nicely during the year. Where Galveston is about 3 weeks before Ironman Texas, and then we have Ironman Waco, which took the place of Austin Ironman, and that's only about an hour away as well.
So how you feeling coming into the season? You feeling pretty good? You feeling you got more work to do?
I got more work to do, but what's nice is where I am confident. The swimming, that's actually become my favorite event, and I'm getting there.
Yeah,
I got a way to go, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, and you've done it before, so you know where you got to be. It's just a matter of completing the training and getting through it, and then showing up on that starting line and finishing.
Exactly, and I think that's the hardest part is the mental game, and it's not to downplay the physical, but when you have your mind in the right place to know, okay, especially for the full, this is going to suck, but it's only one day.
Yep.
You can do it.
Yep, exactly. It's it's a day, but so you know what? If you work hard and you put in the hours, it's so worth it in the end. The payoff is worth it. So moving forward, let's talk about the more important race.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
So, we put together the Ordinary Marathon last year, and and I got to thank you again for that because I thought you did an amazing job. And I know it's sometimes it's like a thankless job because really it's like everything works smoothly and then one thing kind of gets funky and you're on call and it's like, you got to make sure that the customer gets set up right and gets fixed, and you definitely answered the call for that, and that's why we're here again this year.
Well, thank you, and I got to give a shout out to both you and Melissa, because the vision that you had for this last year and the cause that you were supporting, I definitely believed in both, and I just loved how we interacted and the direction that we're going. Yeah, we had some fires we had to put out. It was a learning curve for everyone involved. But I think in the end, we achieved what we're looking for. And it just made things exciting that we're able to do some good for others.
Yeah. And, I know we got in touch with some people who were like, yeah, this virtual race thing is actually kind of cool. And I know we got at least 2 inquiries for you on other races. I think one,
Yes.
Ben Hinton, I know I think he's doing his again this year as well. We're going to have Ben on. I keep saying we're going to have Ben on, and then I just never have him on. Ben's like, you know what? Ben is just so reliable. He's just on my board constantly. It's like, I know if I need a podcast guest, I could just call Ben. And I don't even have to talk when Ben, Ben, I just say, hey, Ben, how you doing? And then he gives me 30 minutes. And
it's like riding a cutting horse. You just hold on and they do the rest.
But, he does a lot of good work for his cause as well. And I definitely am very supportive of him. But moving back to a more important race, first sign up for Ordinary Marathon, then sign up for Ben's race. So a 10-day race, it's kind of interesting. I feel like the way we set this thing up, it's really, it's interesting. It's 10 days. 10 days is a long time.
Yeah.
And, but I think what had happened was in our prior experience with virtual races, people like the weekend. They really like to run on the weekend. They get their long runs on the weekend. It's like, yeah, you can train during the week, but you never know week to week what's going on. A kid gets sick or, you have to stay at work late or something. And, you never know how much you can run. So we wanted to kind of cover it for 2 weekends. And so that's how the 10-day race came about. I was shocked at the amount of actual participation from last year. Now we had 70 entries, but the social media plugs on that, it was like every minute, it was like someone else finishing a run and posting it and posting pictures. And it was just such a cool, and then we had people just asking like, cause they saw the hashtags, what's this Ordinary Marathon? And it was really cool.
And I think one of the things that I enjoy most about it, along with that, are the stories. We're not talking about big time athletes. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you don't have Mo Farah running this. It's people like me and you, regular Joes, regular people that are out there doing it for themselves to help others. And just seeing that camaraderie is just really exciting.
Yeah. And, even like, I gotta say, I was a virtual race skeptic from the very beginning. Because the way I looked at it, I'm like, why would I ever do a virtual race? Like, why? I mean, I run anyway. I don't need to pay to run. But, from the charitable aspect of it all, and the, like you said, the camaraderie, the community sort of, the way we get together to help a charity and, and then just the socializing aspect of it all, meeting other runners and seeing what they're doing and what they're up to. And the prizes. I mean, geez, we give away some pretty darn good prizes. So, I know that you're giving away a free entry to another Furever Home Running. Any other, right? Is that the way it was? You got to remind me. I have a stack. Good.
I was going to say yes. So, I definitely want to donate a free registration from Furever Home Running for any one of our branded races. And with that, it will be the full race packet, which is bib, finisher medal, and I'm also going to throw in a custom fitted T-shirt. Actually, I'm sorry, not fitted T-shirt, a wicking T-shirt,
yep.
And a sport towel.
That's awesome. That is great. And so that's, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at a little stack. I'm starting to develop the little stack of giveaway stuff, and I have like these little Kudos Coaster Pluses. I can show you on Skype, but the people I listen to the podcast can't see them. But just like you take your medal and you put them in there, and it's like becomes a little coaster. I think that's it's super cool. I got a Fleet Feet coffee mug. It's funny when I grew up, like we had coffee mugs, like a gazillion coffee mugs, and they're all different. And I always swore to myself that I would never be that person to have a million coffee mugs that are all different. And now I look in my cabinet, and that's what I've become. It's just I'm like, I have a gazillion coffee mugs. I have a book called, Runner's Fix by Mike Swinger. He's going to be on the podcast the next couple of weeks, that we're going to give away. Brian Burke is giving away like 3 copies of his book from last year. He did it last year. He gave away some copies as well. We have a coffee basket, a basket of coffee from, Queen Bean Coffee. We have a t-shirt from Greasy Girl Headbands, like a quality T-shirt. It's not, it's not just a cotton, throwaway jobber. It's all good stuff. And, I've been watching, you sent me the list yesterday of the people who have registered already. And man, you guys are already getting creative with the bib names, right?
Yes.
And I love that. The personalized bib is great. And listen, so when you have to register by April 1 to get the bib, I think, is that?
Yeah, so I need to have time to send that off to the printers and get it done, yes. Yeah. Elsewise, you'll still get a bib if you register afterwards. It just won't be personalized.
Yeah, and the personalized, I mean, you guys are so creative with that stuff. It's really cool to see. I know, we've actually had a lot of people add on the T-shirts, and we try to make that optional because, it is an extra cost, and we can either jack up the cost and give everyone a shirt, or we can make it optional, and a lot of people have taken it. Now, we had the orange shirts last year, which kind of made a splash. Look, I know they might have been ugly, but they're unique. They are unique. They are a collector's item. I'll be wearing mine at the Phoenix Marathon. Because I figure that's a little publicity for the race, People see the Ordinary Marathon logo and ask questions. People always ask about it. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, I think, we've had a pretty successful, first week?
So yes, a little over a week now that it's been open, 25% sold out already. Yeah. But that doesn't mean, like you and I talked about before, it doesn't mean we can't go above what we projected. It just means we're going to have to order more medals if that becomes the case. And so I would say if you want your medal, before the race, make sure you register early because this is actually selling out faster than last year. Yeah,
it's going pretty well, and we've added the live 5K, and we're going to do the virtual version. It's funny, like I don't even, it's like I add these things, and it's like, oh yeah, let me call Scott and make sure we can do that. And you're like, I don't know, I got to add some things to the website. I was like, just do it. So we're figuring out ways to to get this stuff out. We're going to so it'll be a virtual 5K the last day of the Ordinary Marathon, which is Sunday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And we're also going to have a live 5K version that's going to be local at Fleet Feet Longmeadow. They're also a sponsor of the race, and they are putting together, the funny thing is I told the guy, I'm like, look, I don't know. It could be 5 people showing up. It could be 500. I have no idea. So, but I'm looking forward to finding out, and I'm looking forward to kind of getting the word out there locally and seeing if we can get some traction. So I hope you're ready for just a deluge of orders. It's coming.
Bring it on. It's one of those things that I got into this and started this company to do this. And I love when I have races like yours and are able to help produce this race. Makes me feel like I'm actually contributing something beyond just what my interests are.
Yeah. And, and to that point, we're doing this race for the SAM Fund, which is a charity that helps people, young adults, deal financially with cancer diagnosis. Really great charity. We've talked about it a lot of times on the podcast. But in addition to that, your company, Furever Home Running, and there's a reason why it's spelled F-U-R and not F-O-R, is with every entry that of one of your races, which includes Ordinary Marathon, you donate to animal shelters, animal-related charities. Why don't you give us a little bit of background? I mean, everyone everyone can kind of appreciate helping out the animals, the dogs, the cats. It's just you always want to do it, but you actually do it.
Yeah. So I chose nonprofit animal rescue groups because not a whole lot of attention when it comes to charity work is directed towards animals. And usually when you do see charity work for animals, it's the big organizations like ASPCA, which nothing wrong with them. I focus charity work with the small nonprofits, the ones like if you were to have a nonprofit animal rescue group, you're probably funding it 100% out of your own pocket and whatever kind of donations you could get. And $5 from every registration from a Furever Home Running branded race goes to these two nonprofits. And this year we are connected with the Rhode Island Pet Connection Foundation out of Warwick, Rhode Island,
Yep.
and the Hardiman Adoptable Animals out of Bolivar, Tennessee. And every year we select 2 nonprofits, and we entered into a formal charitable pledge agreement. All of this is posted on our website, so you can see, yes, we have a signed agreement. It shows when we're going to be donating, how much we're going to be donating, and then every quarter we post how much we donated and how it was spent the following quarter.
Wow.
And so for folks like you, so those are from the Furever Home races, $5 from every registration, which our races like yours, they're not expensive. Oh, I don't make a whole lot of money. Most of it goes to these folks. And so, people like you that come to me and say, hey, can you help me produce this race? That money, whatever money I do make, which, again, isn't a lot because we're doing this to raise money for charity. 20% of that right off the top goes straight to these folks. So what I make is pennies in comparison because I do this to help the animals.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's kind of one of the things that what I like about you and your organization. And on top of that, you would think that maybe, you wouldn't have that extra time for the customer if there's an issue with the order that you just get frustrated, but you don't. You have a good attitude about it. And in the end, it all goes to help the animals, goes to help, the young adults with cancer from the SAM Fund. It's just, makes you feel good inside, I think. And, I don't know. It's a good thing. My dog Jake, he actually came from Georgia, somewhere down near Atlanta. And, he was born to a litter of a dog who was owned by a homeless guy. So a homeless guy had a dog. The dog had 4 pups. The guy walked around for like a month and he couldn't feed the puppies and he brought them to the shelter, who then rehabilitated the 4 dogs. And I guess from what I understand down south, especially in that area, there's a lot of strays and a lot, so basically there's not enough demand to meet the supply of dogs, and a lot of them get put down and euthanized. So these people take in the dogs, they rehabilitate them, and then they ship them up north to shelters, probably like the one in Rhode Island that you mentioned. I got Jake at in Salem, Massachusetts. The witch town. It was a place called, I think it was the Northeast Animal Shelter, it was called, in Salem, Mass. And, without them having the ability to rehabilitate these puppies, my dog would have probably been euthanized. So, to think of that and to think of what you're doing, I think it's a noble endeavor for sure.
Well, thank you. And, we did the fostering thing to help till animals find their forever home. We ended up having to stop doing that because we kept being foster failed and adopting them.
That's my cat.
Yeah. And after our last one that we adopted, we decided, we got to do something a different way. And that's actually kind of the genesis of Furever Home Running, combining my love for running triathlons with animal rescue, and hey, everyone benefits.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to kind of put an exclamation point on the whole conversation. Fureverhomerunning.com, Furever. What else you got? I know you got you got your Facebook account, right? You have your Facebook. Why don't you just give us a rundown on the social media?
So we are on Facebook, and you can find that just by searching Furever Home Running. In Facebook, we're also on Twitter, and I believe that's Furever Home, and then we're also on Instagram, Furever Home Running.
That's awesome. All right, Scott Frasard, thanks so much for coming on. I know we kind of squeezed this one in the morning. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate all you're doing for the race.
Thank you very much for having me, and really excited about the Ordinary Marathon. I talk about it all I can, and I'm really excited with the registrations, and I say just keep them coming. Hurry up before they're sold out.
Yeah, let's get this thing moving. All right, thanks so much, Scott. All right, with that, we are going to end today's show. I get a laundry list of guests behind me on my board, and I just don't know who I'm going to bring in next week. It's I've been reaching out to some people, and some say, yeah, I'll be on, and then they delay, and then I got Ben Hinton I always got Ben Hinton in the bullpen. We're going to bring him on too. So he may very well be next week, but we'll see. I got the Phoenix Marathon coming. I think it's the 9th. It might be the 10th. It's that weekend, whatever it is. So I got to continue focus on my training there, and keep things going, and obviously get out and register for the Ordinary Marathon. Spots are going fast. We're having a blast putting this thing together so far. So with that, always remember, when it comes to running, I'm no expert. I'm just ordinary.